Hello, testing, testing.
That's pretty good.
Good evening. We will
Recording
start.
in progress.
Thank you. Good evening. We are starting the Richmond Planning Commission meeting of Thursday, May 7th, 2026. The first item will be to do a roll call. Oh, I have to. Okay, we're beginning. Roll call.
Chair Harrison is absent. Vice Chair Burbaker,
Yes.
Secretary Timmons,
Yes.
Commissioner Golovitz is absent. Commissioner Shaid
Here.
and Commissioner Benitez.
Here.
Thank you. Can you introduce staff?
Yes, good evening, Planning Commission. Avery Stark, your planning manager for the city of Richmond, and I am joined this evening by Rick Hirsch to my right here, who will be giving the presentation on the first item, the only item on our agenda. Rick is a consultant who works on behalf of the city in processing a number of different applications, but this is his first time at Planning Commission. So,
And city attorney?
and we have James Atencio, senior assistant city attorney.
Thank you. Next item is approval of minutes. Does anyone want to make a motion? There's two sets of minutes. Do we have to do these individually, or can we do them as a pair?
You were all in attendance for both, so you can. No, you were not for the second. Okay, so for the second,
Okay, why don't we do
First.
them one at a time then? April 2nd minutes, does someone want to make a motion? I will make a motion that we approve the minutes of April 2nd, 2026.
I second it.
then I'll take roll. Chair Harrison is absent. Vice Chair Burbaker,
Yes.
Secretary Timmons,
Yes.
Commissioner Golovitz is absent. Commissioner Shaid,
Here.
This is for approval of minutes. so
this
you
is for the
say
approval of the
yes.
minutes on the second.
So you should say whether you approve the minutes or not approve.
You either say approve or no,
This is for you, Shahid.
Shaid.
Oh, I apologize. Approve. Yes.
Okay, thanks.
And then Commissioner Benitez.
Yes.
Okay, that's April 2nd.
That's April 2nd.
April 16th, we have minutes. Can we have a motion to approve the minutes?
I make a motion to approve the minutes for April 16th.
Okay, I'll second.
Commissioner Harrison is absent. Vice Chair Burbaker,
Approve.
Secretary Timmons,
Abstain.
Commissioner Golovitz is absent. Commissioner Shaid
Approve as well.
and Commissioner Benitez.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see. Consent calendar. There is no consent calendar items. So we'll move to public forum. Anyone who wishes to address the Planning Commission on a topic that is not already on the agenda and is relevant to the commission's purpose may submit a speaker form to staff at the beginning of the meeting. A 3-minute per speaker. Time limit shall apply. Do we have any speakers?
Yes, we do have one speaker. We have Cordell Handler.
Thank you, Avery. So, good evening, Vice Chair Brubaker, Commissioners. For the record, I am Cordell Henlon. I'm a Richmond resident. So, the reason I'm up here is because if you recall at the March meeting when you approved the Marina Point project, the neighborhood council had raised these issues. It didn't come before them, and so one of the things that I have noticed, and after speaking with the president, she had concerns regarding them that there was no input. They did not provide their input. So let me say that for the record. Anytime before any project comes to anybody, the neighborhood council, the applicant must talk with the neighborhood council to get their input. So I just want to put that on record. So that's one. And then number two is, if you recall last month when you had the UCSF clinic item on your agenda, it was one of the things that I had noticed, and I've been speaking with the Hilltop District, that was one of their concerns. They had about security for the building, and so I'm glad my response had been covered. So I'll just save my comments for when we get to the Garrity matter.
Okay, are there any other speakers? Anyone online?
There are no other speakers.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we will now open public hearing. There is one item on the public hearing list, and that is PLN 24-0397 and PLN 25-0357, which is 3151 Garrity Way. Do we have a staff presentation?
Yes, thank you, Vice Chair. This evening, a presentation will be provided by Rick Hirsch, again, a consultant supporting the City of Richmond. Go ahead, Rick.
Good evening, Vice Chair Brubaker, members of the Planning Commission. Richard Hirsch on behalf of the Community Development Department. I am with Interwest Consulting Group. As a consultant to the city, I've been consulting with the city for about 8 months. Have enjoyed it. This is my first chance to come before this body, so thank you very much for the opportunity. Good to meet you all, and would like to offer a thank you to Commissioner Benitez up front for submitting your comments and questions to us beforehand, and that way that gave us an opportunity to wrap our heads around it and come up with comprehensive and as accurate as we could responses for you. So that was very much appreciated. And with that, the project before you this evening is the 3151 Garrity Way Townhomes project, and the applicant is seeking major design review, tentative map, and conditional use permit. And I've got a couple slides to just drill down and give you the context, the geographic context of where the site is located. We're in the Hilltop area, just east of the Hilltop Mall site and north of Hilltop Drive, a little bit west of the Interstate 80. And we're on the north side of Garrity Way, just east of Bloom Drive. And Garrity Way it does terminate in a cul-de-sac couple hundred feet to the east of the project site. The site is 2.2 acres. It is in the Hilltop neighborhood. The general plan is regional commercial mixed use, and zoning is CR, regional commercial. Currently, the site is completely vacant and undeveloped. Surrounding uses include a variety of, kind of a wide variety of things: multifamily apartment complexes, commercial uses, a truck repair business, 2 extended stay lodging developments across the street, some office buildings, and then Garrity Ravine is a dedicated permanent open space just to the north of the site. This is a couple pictures. One from the street view there on the bottom is from Garrity, from the median looking northward towards the site. And the other one is presumably a drone view looking north above Garrity, northward towards Garrity Ravine. And you can see the site is completely vacant. This is just an overview site plan showing the project context. 45 townhomes are being proposed in 12 buildings. 40 units would be offered for sale, fee simple, individual market rate sale. And the development team is proposing 5 units as affordable. Each unit will have a garage and a modest private backyard space. There will also be stormwater control features, landscaping, some retaining walls, site lighting, and of course utilities. And then there's a large, relatively large community open space at the rear of the site, and then a smaller community open space at the front along Garrity. And as I mentioned, CR regional commercial zoning project is exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act under Assembly Bill 130. And the applicant, again, is requesting major design review, a tentative parcel map, and a conditional use permit. The project meets all other standards. The conditional use permit is really a dual permit. They're requesting a reduction in parking below the typically minimum requirement of 92. They're offering on the site plan 87 spaces. Any applicant can request under code section 1504-607 to reduce by 10% with a use permit. And then the other part of the bifurcated use permit is to have ground floor forward-facing residential, and we can go into that a little bit more if you'd like later. And so let's get into the elevations. This first one is the south or front elevation along Garrity. And then below that is the opposite or north elevation, the rear elevation facing out to Garrity Ravine. And the west exterior elevation facing 3101 Garrity. And you can see quite a variety in the color palettes. Applicant actually took the initiative themselves to revise the color palette a couple of months ago to better differentiate the townhouse units from each other and to add a little more visual interest to the project. So that's the west, and the east elevation is facing to the Tides apartment complex to the east. This is just a different, slightly different perspective view showing the front elevation from Garrity. And the applicant also voluntarily took the initiative to change the roof lines. They added more angles to the roof, and that provides a little bit more visual interest viewing the buildings from Garrity. This is a nice oblique view, kind of like a bird's eye view, taken above Garrity, looking from south to north. Gives you a pretty good overview of the site. Landscape plan, fairly robust. I believe they're proposing 49 total trees, combination of evergreen and deciduous, and they will install 6 new street trees and a good amount of hardscape features as well, accent boulders, decomposed granite surfaces in the rear open space, and some benches and picnic tables back there in the rear open space looking over Garrity Ravine. And Design Review Board looked at this twice. The first time was November 12th. It was a study session, and a number of items were requested of the applicant. Minor items. If you're interested, we can discuss those. March 11th was the actual public hearing, at which time the DRB recommended approval to the Planning Commission 3-1 to go forward with the project. And public collaboration comments. The Hilltop Neighborhood Council did review the project. We sent them the drawings, or the applicant agent sent them the drawings in mid-October. And they responded back within a couple of days stating they had no comments. Public notice process was completed for this hearing as well, and we've received, staff received no comment letters. And as far as the overall decision-making process, just to distill it down to its simple parts, the DRB held a hearing, made a recommendation. Planning Commission hearing is here tonight. And based on the decision, if there is a decision tonight and the commission doesn't decide to continue the item, then there would be a 10-day appeal period during which any member of the public could appeal to the city council the decision. So staff's recommendation on this is conditional approval. Staff recommends the commission concur with the findings, statements, and approve PLN 24397 and PLN 250357, subject to the draft conditions of approval as they're stated and attached to the staff report. And this concludes the staff report. We're happy to respond to any questions or have discussion, including about the TDM plan, affordable units, connectivity, or anything else you're interested in. The applicant team is also here. If you'd like to ask them any questions, they have a presentation that if you wanted to see it, they could also do. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that presentation. Does the commission have any questions for staff or the applicant?
I do. And I apologize for my lateness again. I'm sorry. You said staff had conditional approval. What are the conditions? Where do I find those?
Good question. The conditions should be at the very end of the staff report, I believe, unless they're with the resolution. Let me take a quick look.
They're outlined in the resolution, which is attachment 1.
I'm sorry, my mistake. They are in fact attached to the end of the approval resolution, attachment 1.
So that would be page like 60.
Starting on page 9 of 21.
Right.
Now therefore be resolved is the beginning of the conditions of approval.
So there's quite a number of conditions, 65 conditions.
Yeah, and most of them are standard conditions.
Okay, well, do you have any questions about that or other questions?
No, I wanted to look at them.
Okay. Did you have any questions? I do have some questions.
I actually do have another question too, yeah.
Some of these may be for applicant. I can go through them and then you can decide how to answer them. But I'm curious about the 4-story unit in the corner. It's an unusual townhouse type, and I'm wondering how that actually works internally. And is it a single unit? Is it a single residence, 4 stories? So that would be nice to know. I was wondering whether native trees were considered in the landscape design, because I see that the trees that were selected, I don't think any of them are native. We are on the ravine in the back in particular, and it seems like it may be a good. So I don't know if Design Review Board had any comments about that as well. Along those lines, I was wondering if, I don't know if Garrity Ravine will ever have a trail system in it. It is an open space preserve, and I'm wondering if at some point in the future there was a trail system there, how would residents be able to connect to that trail system in the future, do we think? And then 3 questions about locations. Bike parking, there's short-term bike parking to be provided. I didn't see it on the plans. It might be on the plans. I didn't see. So where would that be located? Notice board, the TDM talks about having information for transportation. Where would the notice board location be? And then there's a mention of a micro mobility station in the future, bike share station in the future. If those did happen, where on the site would those 2 locations be? And my final question is about access to the unit. So the primary access for residents is to drive into the garage and then enter the unit. But if you are a visitor, how will you access the units, particularly on the perimeter where there isn't a front door on the back side because it's a backyard? So that's a question about front door access to perimeter units. Thank you.
Yeah, no, all great questions, Vice Chair Brubaker. Let's take it from the top. I heard, I think, 7 questions, which is great. I love questions. Let's take it from the top. I think the first question I heard was there's one 4-story unit that you noticed on the northeast corner of the site. That's kind of the grand unit of the development. It is in fact one ownership unit. It's a townhouse style, so it would be it's going to be platted on the plat map as a unit that you have ownership from your footprint all the way up to your ceiling. As one assessor parcel number, basically, and one legal unit.
Just to follow up on that, the units in the back there are 2-story above grade from the street access, and that one is 3 stories above grade. So presumably it will have a garage at grade and then 2 stories above garage for living, and a lower level that you would drop down to, and I'm just wondering what would be the use of the lower level? Where would the living be?
Excellent questions. I'm just trying to navigate back to it. So I think this is the correct slide. So on this one, north or rear elevation, and you can see on the left is the...
Sorry, we're not seeing a slide.
You're not seeing the slide?
There you go.
Oh, sorry, I was flipping through kind of quickly, my mistake. Yeah, north elevation, it's the one on the far left there. It's on the northeast corner of the development. You are correct. The one floor is kind of a subgrade floor. Yeah, I believe I'm going to defer to the applicant
Okay, that's
team
fine.
to go into more detail about the floor plan on it. I honestly, I haven't reviewed the floor plans in detail. Let's earmark that one for the applicant after we're done here, if that's okay.
Yes, that's
Okay.
fine.
But you're definitely right. It is the crowning jewel unit of the development. It's more than 5,000 square feet. The second question, again?
Native trees.
Yeah, unfortunately, the landscape plan does not display any native varieties at this time. But the city is definitely, staff is definitely open to that discussion. And if we reach a conclusion where some native varieties would be desired, we could write that in as a condition of approval. To choose to select appropriate native varieties and substitute them into the landscape plan for review by planning staff during the construction, drawing, and building permit phase. So that's a possibility
Okay, thank you.
and a good comment.
Future trail connection?
Yeah, so Garrity Ravine is a dedicated open space in both the general plan and the zoning code. It's not an active use park per se. Now, while you were saying that, I was wondering if it is part of the Hilltop Horizon plan area.
Yes, it is a part of the Hilltop specific plan. We don't currently have a designated trail that would be in the ravine at this point. And it's also, yeah,
So
there's
it's
also not a master parks plan either.
Agreed, understood. It's a speculative question. I think it's a question that is a what if, and I don't know if the applicant might have any thoughts about the best way to provide access, because there is a retaining wall in the rear yard that you would have to somehow get down from
Stairs.
to access the ravine.
Stairs, trail, something.
The project does, if you look at the very large 24-foot tall retaining wall, the north-facing wall, does kind of provide a pretty robust barrier between the project and Garrity Ravine. It is not integrated at all between the ravine and the open space and the development. And that was largely a function of pretty steep, challenging topography. And the retaining wall and all the grading and filling on that north end of the project site was all required in order to create a level space for the common open recreational space back there. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been usable as a common open space.
Understood, but if you go to, could you go to the elevation showing from, looking from the ravine to the rear?
See if I can get back to it here. Was it an
there.
oblique or this one? This
Okay.
one, yeah.
No, this doesn't show the retaining walls. There's one in the packet that shows the retaining wall.
Oh,
I would say that the retaining walls do step down across the site, and there is a section of the space provided for, outdoor space provided for the residents that is not so far above grade. So anyways, I'll leave it there, but it would be interesting for the applicant to have in mind if there was, if I lived there, I would want to have access if possible, rather than going all the way around and into the ravine, but I'll leave it there. The next question that I had was bike parking.
yeah. There's definitely bike parking. So every unit, all 45 units have a bike parking rack installed interior to the unit, and then there's also 4 end of trip common bike rack areas on the site. I believe they're towards the front of the site, towards Garrity, but that might be a question that that I defer to the expert bike plan knowledge of the applicant with.
Okay,
Let me see if I can see it.
Notice board location?
Yeah, that would be to be determined. Probably somewhere in either the front common open space or the rear common open space. And it could be either a kiosk style or just like a two-dimensional board, like a cork board, maybe with, that has like a set of plastic doors to protect it from weather, inclement weather. But it's a TBD. It hasn't been determined. That location, it could be determined and more accurately dialed in on the construction drawings for building permit purposes. And I could add that to the existing condition of approval.
Okay, well, maybe we could hear from the applicant.
No, sure.
That would be great.
On their ideas of where it might go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, for all these questions.
What's that?
For all these questions.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Did you have another one?
Well, the other locations that I mentioned were the micromobility station, the future
Yeah.
bike share and micromobility. So that was the last.
Same thing. So that's more of a conceptual in the future. If there ever were a scooter bike share program that set up operations in the Hilltop area and began functioning there, at that time, the owner has offered to dedicate a space for a shared bike and or scooter mobility station.
But we don't know where that space would be.
Same thing, we don't. There are some opportunity spaces. Go ahead.
It is outlined on and shown on A1 of the proposed site plan. It is at the front of the property along Garrity Way within the front common open space. It is very small font, notably. But there are two locations indicated for class 2 bike storage and
Yeah.
small scooter parking area.
I'm having a hard time finding A1.
Let's see. Yeah.
Okay.
You're looking in the drawing set? Let me see what sheet it is.
Oh, here it is.
I see it.
Avery, did you say A1? 1.1?
A1.0.
1.0. It's about maybe the fourth page.
So I see bike parking listed there. Thank you, Avery.
And then in very small font below the bike parking, it says scooter parking.
Oh, but that's not the future. Well,
it could accommodate
It could be
both.
clarified. There's a separate, in the TDM, they say micro-mobility station. I don't know if that is that or whether there's some thing in the future. Like right now, there isn't a scooter share like Lime
Right.
in Richmond. So that remains a question, I think. But at least, so we do know bike parking location. That's great.
Yep. My apologies. Yeah, it is definitely noted there along Garrity in the middle section of the development.
Okay, do we have other questions
You
for?
have one more question. Access to
Oh.
units for visitors on
Oh, yeah. Access to a unit for visitors.
That was an excellent question. So this project does not have any guest parking right now. That is the parking that went away. A previous iteration of this site plan did show 5 guest parking spots towards the north end of the site. And but what was occurring was there with the target number of 45 units, there wasn't enough common open space. There's a minimum amount of common open space required, and it wasn't going to be able to be met. And so planning staff, before I got here at Richmond and on the project, predecessor worked with the applicant team on the conditional use permit idea about excusing the guest parking and replacing it with a common open space area to make sure that the project could meet that requirement. The common open space requirement is 9,000 square feet, and it wasn't going to be met previously, and now it is met at 9,065. So the end of the day, the parking, every unit has its own garage parking underneath. Most of the units have 2 spaces. 1 or 2 have 3 spaces, and 1 or 2 have 1 space. And for guests, they won't be able to park on the looping driveway, access driveway. That'll be all no parking, but there are areas of on-street parking along Garrity that they could park at, or they could park in the garage of their host.
Understood. So that was clear in the staff report. What I'm wondering is a different question.
I'm
which
sorry.
is when you get out of your car as visitor and you walk over to the unit, are you faced with the garage door to enter the unit, or is there a front door facing the entry road?
I believe all 45 units have a front door.
On a 2.1, you can see the entrance door for the
Yeah.
row of homes at the rear.
So all the units can be accessed within the garage if you're driving in, but they all have like a separate pedestrian front door as well.
Got it. Okay, thank you. Okay, questions?
This might be for you, Avery, I'm not sure. I'm looking at the wall in the back and the ravine. How is, the only way I know to say this is, how would you deal with a fire situation? How would a truck or trucks get to a wildfire situation down there?
So in terms of review for fire code and EVA access, so the fire department did, review this project, has provided its conditions of approval for how they would, put out a fire in the event, hopefully unlikely, at the homes. The area of the ravine probably is not identified as a route or a path that they would take for a traditional house fire. I think in the event of a wildfire of the ravine, I know that the fire department does have numerous off-road vehicles that they would likely deploy to put out that type of fire, but I think that'd be very dependent upon the type of fire that's occurring, and I would definitely defer to our chief in terms of how they would, operationally solve that problem, but not currently a part of or the scope of this project.
Thank you.
Other questions?
I just had a few comments. Thank you for responding to the questions that I asked. This particularly thanks for giving clarity on TDM, which is Transportation Demand Management, for those of you that aren't familiar with all of the abbreviations. And I just want to note that I'm just acknowledging we're going to have to balance meeting that existing need for housing and meeting future vision need of mixed use and connectivity. And so just acknowledging that this would bring that housing that we need, but this area is currently super auto-oriented. And so I had a similar question that Bruce had, like, if I took the bus, how would I get there and get in? And so appreciated that context you gave of the 2 future bus stops that are being planned around the area. And then also, thank you for the clarity when it came to the housing. And it was very good to note, because of the inclusionary housing ordinance, that it's 5 units of moderate income, and if they would be bringing in low income, it would be less units, 3. So just appreciated that context. Thank you.
Yeah. Did you want to expand or talk about either of those more, or?
No, just
okay.
thank you.
I didn't realize that you received a response. Avery, you sent a response then. Okay. Great.
Yeah, I forwarded the response.
Oh,
to all
okay. I'm
commissioners.
sorry. Great.
Very, very clear response. Thank you for that. Did you have other questions before we go to the public?
I had a question.
Yeah.
Oh, please go.
Sorry. Yeah, no.
Commissioner Shahid, go ahead.
I noticed that we had 5 low-income units, and looking at the unit details on table 2, do we know which unit will go to the low-income housing unit?
So that's a good question. So there are 5 units out of 45 that have been promised to be dedicated under the inclusionary housing ordinance of the city. But all 5 would be in the moderate income category, not the low or very low categories.
The question
Got
is,
it.
where on the site plan
Right,
would
and
you
there-
find them? Have
Yeah.
they been identified on the site plan?
Yep, understood. And the second part of the answer is that it hasn't been determined yet. So we don't know which units that would be. I believe that could be worked out during the building permit phase on the construction drawings, but I'm not sure. If we want to work through that with the applicant team tonight, we could probably do that too.
No, it doesn't need to be worked out this evening.
Okay.
When the city negotiates an affordable housing agreement with a developer, it would be at that time that we would
Okay.
solidify the units that have been identified for being the affordable housing units.
Curious, who at the city negotiates that?
Me.
Is it you?
Me and James Atencio sitting across from
Okay.
you.
Great, thank you. Other questions, Commissioner Shahid?
Well, I was just wondering, since they're not going to be able to meet the 92 spaces required, is there any way we could throw in a conditional um, approval where the 5 units go more towards the higher end model units for the low income or to moderate income housing? Is there anything we could do, Avery, about that, or is that a bit different?
So in terms of determining the location of the units within the site plan, first we'll wait for the applicant to provide those to us as we begin discussing an affordable housing agreement. The end goal within our inclusionary housing ordinance is that the units that are affordable be commensurate with in terms of accessibility and finishes as any other unit to be indistinguishable from each other. So we would be looking to review that when they make their application choice for those units. We cannot select for them, but we can certainly, within the guidelines of our RMC, where there are standards around equal distribution and equal access to amenities and types of housing units. So again, if they were all 2-bedroom units, it wouldn't be such a challenge, but like where we have a variety of bedroom count or size, we begin looking for equitable distribution within the site to provide compliance with the affordable housing ordinance.
Mm,
Do you have a follow-up, Commissioner Shahid?
No, that answered my question. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Did you have a question?
Yeah. Can these homeowners, or actually both the homeowners and I'm assuming then the rest would be rental?
Oh, it's all homeowners.
They're all ownership,
Oh, okay.
all 45.
Are they all, can they do solar?
I'm sorry, one more time.
Solar, can they install solar?
I can't hear.
They'll be required to install solar per our REACH code. So yes.
Oh, okay,
Title 24, yeah.
okay, good, thank you.
Sorry, sometimes I can't hear too well.
Yeah. Okay, well, if there's no other questions, well, I guess I will open it to see if the applicant would like to come up and answer any of the questions that, or contribute to any of the discussion we've been having. If so, you're welcome to come up now.
I think they would like to respond to, especially some of your comments, Vice Chair Brubaker.
Welcome.
Yes, you will have 10 minutes to respond and answer questions from the commission.
Hi, Vice Chair Brubaker. I'm E. Wang from Lonely Architecture. I'm the architect on this project. So I think the remaining question is on the corner units of the 4-story units, the access through the units. So because the site is sloped at the rear side, there is a 30-foot drop almost to the end of the site. That's why we have planned one sub-grade floor there to take advantage of the grading. So on the lower level, we have a family room there, and then 2 bedrooms facing the view side of the site. So it's all connected within the unit. There is a stair connecting all levels. That's why we have this 6-bedroom unit there. So there is opportunities on each level to enjoy the view there.
Wow, 6-bedroom. And where is the living room, dining room, kitchen?
Yeah, so the entry level has 3 parking garage. If you look at page A2.1 through A2.3. So yeah, ground level.
Oh, it's a separated garage for that unit.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So garage there, and then there is a kitchen or a bar on the ground level with a living room, and then on the second
I see.
floor, Yeah, we have the main kitchen there, and a family room and a bedroom. So on the upper level, there are 3 more bedrooms there.
Okay. Thank you for that. Did you have any thoughts about native trees?
We'll work with the landscape architect.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you have any thoughts about a future trail connection? Is that reasonable to think that you could do that?
If there is a need to connect with the future trails, we can look into the possibilities to connect. But currently, I think the view is more observed, yeah,
Okay,
for the residents.
thank you for that. Location of the notice board that's discussed in the TDM?
So we have like an entry signage. If you look at the sheet A 1.0, it's on the top left corner next to the, it says the project sign. And
Oh,
also we have a sign.
project
signage plan.
sign.
Yeah, 86.3.
So it would be next to the project sign or in that area, you
Yes.
think?
It
It
can
would
be
be on the
incorporated.
front and not on the rear of the project?
Currently, it's the intent, but
Yeah.
we are open to.
That seems right to me. But it does raise a question about mailboxes. How will mail be handled for these for sale units?
So each unit will have their own mailbox.
So the PO will go into the project and deliver mail inside the project?
Yes.
Okay.
And
Let's see, and do you have any thoughts about the micromobility station or the bike share?
yeah, that's the 2 locations we proposed on the site plan, A 1.0. So we looked at some available models in the market. So they have those stations that has 2 bikes and a scooter parking, so all integrate into one rack. So there are opportunities there to place that kind of model
Okay.
in the designated space.
Okay, and the last question was about how people will access, well, I guess we had that answered, but all these units have front doors on the
Yes.
entry drive, right?
That's right.
Okay. That's good. Sorry about this, but I did have, I did have one other question, if it's okay.
Yes.
And it's really more of a comment. There's a sidewalk crossing this entry road, the loop road, and I would like to see a safe crossing there, so I would want to propose striping, crosswalk striping across the entry road in both of the 2 locations. And I'm wondering if there's any problem with making that a condition.
Currently, we're showing a crosswalk where the driveway intersect the sidewalk. So that's the
Is it
intention
shown
there.
as a crosswalk? Where can you show me the crosswalk?
So
Is
where-
is it a ladder
on the
crosswalk?
Yes,
It is.
yes.
Okay. Can you show me that in the drawing?
It should be on the site plan, A 1.0, but I guess the prints might be a little hard to see. It's where the loop drive intersect the sidewalk.
I don't, I don't see anything there, but I guess I will just confirm that when we make our condition. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, it's there. Yes, that one.
Okay. Any other questions for applicant?
I'd point out, Vice Chair,
Yeah.
that the pedestrian walkway is there. It's just clear 2 parallel lines indicating where the path of travel is. It just isn't marked with like what you'd expect it to have for crossings. But
Yeah.
I think It sounds like that's still something that the applicant is open to maybe highlighting for
So
safety
high
reasons.
visibility ladder crosswalk is amenable to be striped on the road. It's low cost. It should be okay, right? So thank you for that. Thank you, Avery. Any other questions for applicant? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now we will open the public hearing for this item. Do I have a statement or something I need to read for that? Well, in any case, if you wish to speak on this project, please submit a speaker card, and we will start with the first speaker. Thank you.
Our first speaker is Cordell Handler.
Thank you, Avery. So good evening, Vice Chair Brubaker, Commissioners. For the record, I am Cordell Henlon. I'm a Richmond resident. So thank you, Rick, for that presentation. So after looking at this project, and I had some of the similar questions, similar, but it's already been answered. So after I looked at this project, I said, now this is fantastic. This is the best project I've ever seen. So I'm like, this is a winner. So I'm asking that this commission to approve the item with conditions, and I'll leave it at that.
Thank you. Do we have another speaker?
There are no other speakers in the chamber, and there are no speakers online.
Okay, so we will close the public hearing and return it to the commission for deliberation. Do you have any comments before we make a motion?
I have one comment.
Okay.
Some 14-year-old kid is going to hang a rope off of the back of that thing and go down into the.
Yeah, right. Okay. We
That's
can't
just-
do anything
I
about that.
just can't, I can't let that go because I know it will happen.
Yeah.
Because I walk past trees every day that have, now they have not only rope swings, but rope hammocks
Uh-huh.
that have shown up in the last, which are probably really fun, you know.
Thank you. Other comments? I wanted to just say that I think this project is, I agree with Cordell, this is an excellent project. One thing I like about it is the variety of unit types. We rarely see this, and it's really great to have, and I presume that it means a variety of cost points in the project, and I think that's such a great thing to include in a project with this number of units. I really recommend it. I think the colors are nice, the vocabulary, the architectural vocabulary is really nice. It's a project that I think people will enjoy living in. So thank you for coming forward with this project. And I will open it to the commission to see if anyone wants to make a motion.
And I would just add for the commission, when you do make your motion, that you can, additional condition that you have so far is just a 66th condition, which is that the applicant to include high visibility ladder crossing along Garrity Way. And then it sounds like for the applicant to consider native trees in their landscaping plan. And those are, I believe, the two.
Particularly on the ravine side.
Okay.
Other conditions or, okay, so thank you for that. Other thoughts? Does anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make it.
Okay.
I move that PLN 24-0397 and PLN 25-0357, do I need to read the address? At 3151 Garrity Way, be approved, subject to the addition of the consideration of native trees, particularly along the ravine border and
Crosswalks.
cross-hatched crosswalks.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Seconded.
Okay. Roll call.
Chair Harrison is absent. Vice Chair Burbaker.
Yes.
Secretary Timmons.
Yes.
Commissioner Golovitz is absent. Commissioner Shahid
Yes.
and Commissioner Benitez.
Yes.
Item is approved.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
So that concludes the public hearings. We're moving to commission business. Reports of officers, commissioners, and staff. Are there any reports?
I do not have any current reports for you. We will continue to have a number of fully stacked planning commission meetings for the rest of this year. Your next planning commission has 4 items on it, and the subsequent ones each have 3 or 4 as well. So we'll continue to keep you abreast of those projects as they come down. And then
What's the date of the next meeting?
the next meeting will be June 4th. And then, if needed, special meetings will be held to accommodate other large projects. We have some that may require just their own meeting for the sake of time.
So the 21st is the third Thursday, and there's no meeting.
Correct.
Okay.
We've amended the bylaws of the Planning Commission to only have one regularly scheduled meeting with the option for the second one.
I see.
But that way I don't have to cancel it every other month.
I see. So for the first Thursday is our regular schedule.
Other than that, I don't have any other updates unless there are questions or report outs from the commission.
Yes, Deanna.
We missed you at the last meeting. I just wanted to say that. But also, I had made a comment about wanting to get reports on the by right approvals, and they said we would be added to the emailing list, but I haven't received anything, and I don't know if something has been sent out yet, just for us as commissioners to have context of what's being approved by right, so that we have that context as we're reviewing all these things.
I will confer with Community Development Director Lena Velasco. We don't currently provide like a particular listserv for by right approvals. We do have the list that's posted monthly and that you can access at any time to see all the projects that are currently under review by the Planning Department, which would indicate if it's either an SB 330, an SB 35, an SB 9, or an SB 684, or pick a few other options in there. Those are the ones that are by right that would not come to the Design Review Board or the Planning Commission, but I don't currently separate them out and provide notice, but I will confer with Lena to see precisely. I can
Got
look
it.
back.
And for context, she said that this was something that they would send city council members and neighborhood council, so it may be that same list.
It's probably that
just
list.
For us to get added on.
Yes. Okay.
Got it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other commission business? Anyone? Commissioner Shahid, anything?
No, I'm good. We just missed you, Avery.
Thank you. So with that, we will conclude the meeting. It is adjourned. Thank you all.